You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Since 96, MLS has been the youngest soccer league. From 10 teams to 30, playoffs to parity. Battered MLS bring local guests to cover games. Analysis firsthand, not Google like other lames. Stats and recaps cover the West and East. Can't forget, we're on Sean Johnson, watch every week. DPs for the elite, 10 Gambit to the vets. Playoff trees as American as it gets. It's time to turn off the world, grab a drink and let's go. We're battered MLS fans, so lock in on the show. Battered MLS fans, so lock in on the show.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Danny,
I was on mute.
are back.
Let me do that again. There you go. Well, actually, the Battered fans are back. Welcome everybody to episode number 93 of the Battered MLS Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Gunn. Alongside me, as always, it's KBD. How are you doing, sir?
I'm ready to talk a little bit MLS Cup stuff. This is going to get juicy. We got
all
some
right. Well, let's start with the
untangle.
conference finals. Conference finals. We had San Diego, Vancouver, Inter Miami, NYCFC. We can start with the East Coast since that was the first game of the weekend or of the day. Miami basically kicked NYCFC's ass. The first 15, 20 minutes, NYCFC looked like they were going to give a good game. Then Tadeo Allende scored that first goal. NYCFC got a little physical, shoving, which we expected.
Literally paid the price right after.
Right after Tadeo Allende scored a second one. They made it a game, scoring that header. Hack scored that header. And 2-1 going into half. But after the 65th minute, where Rocco got that save,
Yes,
led to a transition goal, went up 3-1, and they never looked back. It ended up 5-1. Miami has now scored 13 over the last 3 games. 13 goals, conceded 1. So they are on a really hot streak, and they did it all with just 1 goal contribution from Messi this last game out of those 5 goals, which is what everybody says. This team has to be carried by Messi, but they showed here in the Eastern Conference Final that there's other players that can contribute.
well, it's funny because a lot of people were online saying that Messi was like a ghost. But for those of you that watch basketball, Shaquille O'Neal, like just having him on the court is like Messi on the pitch, gravitating so many players towards him and opening up spaces for so many other people so they can be able to have their opportunities. So as much as Messi didn't, quote unquote, do anything, he still was, in a way, contributing to the game in ways that really a lot of players don't contribute. So I thought it was a good showing by Messi.
Miami look like they're hot. The only team that I think could give them a game is the team that they're going to end up playing against. So we went into that 9 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock Western time game. Vancouver and San Diego. At San Diego, we were expecting a good game, but San Diego unfortunately pooped the bed within the first, what was it, like 10, 13 minutes, I think it was. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was in the first like 12 minutes. 8 minutes into the game, Brian White has a phenomenal goal. And listen, Brian White, he was making his second start in a row after being out of injury. And then after that, you get an own goal where essentially, I mean, they tried the opportunity and it got blocked by a defender, but it just bounced all around and went own goaled into the back of the net. I mean, they lost grip of it within the first 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was really bad. The stadium sounded like it was dead quiet after that. And then to cap it off, right before halftime, Brian White scores his brace. They go into half 3-0, and that's all really she wrote. They got one back in the 60th minute, I want to say, San Diego. But that was basically it. San Diego.
But that was off of a deflection.
San Diego
Chucky Lozano hit it. Yeah. Yeah, and that was off of a deflection. My bad. That was off of a deflection off of a defender where Chucky Lozano blasted it and it just deflected over the goalkeeper and made it in. I mean, other than that, that's all she wrote, really.
And then Conley is saying San Diego FC was still in the locker room in the first 12 minutes. What it felt like. But Vancouver, look, San Diego, I think
basically.
Well, they've had a great first season. You can't take that away. As far as expansion teams go, Not many teams have done what they did. Chicago was an expansion team, and they won the MLS Cup their first season. But back then, there was like 10 teams in the league, or maybe 12. I think that was the first year for the Miami Fusion and Chicago Fire. So they went up to 12 teams, and they won it all. But again, it's 12 teams total. I know Seattle, I want to say, in 2009 had a good run. St. Louis had a good run a couple of years ago where they were top of the West, but they bowed out in the first round.
Yes.
I don't remember. This was a great run. Shout out to them. They built a great fan base, great first season, and I'm expecting nothing but good things for them going forward.
And not only I don't want to agree with this too much, Soccer Daddy. SDFC didn't fool us. I mean, they played phenomenal all season. One of the
had the runner-up to MVP
teams. Yeah, I mean, they have nothing but up to look forward to in the Western Conference next year.
Look, this was a phenomenal first year. All you're gonna get is excitement from San Diego fans going in, because after this first year, I think both teams that bowed out this weekend, both can walk away with their head high because they both overachieved. San Diego, the season as a whole, NYCFC, I don't think anybody penciled them in for Eastern Conference Finals, much less after losing Alonso Martinez in the semifinal. Oh, no, sorry, before the semifinal in the international break. And they ended up going into Philadelphia, the Supporter Shield winners, knocking them out, and then losing to just a better Miami team while they're injured. Like, both teams, I think, walked away from this season with their head high and looking forward to next season with a lot of optimism.
I want to mention also with NYCFC, we've had people that cover and talk NYCFC as fans, as reporters. Many people, including fans and reporters and pundits, did not have NYCFC anywhere above the 8th seed. So the fact that they made it to where they did, and as far as they did, and competed without their best player towards the end, that's a fantastic run, in my opinion. And they got nothing else but to look forward to. Everything's going to be great for them in the future. They're getting a new stadium too, so that's going to be great.
I don't know where they had them before the season. I think everybody thought they would be a playoff team, but definitely not Eastern Conference Finals, especially not after suffering the injuries that they suffered. But look, first-time head coach, I think he had a great showing, and look, they're going to be looking good moving forward. And then with the new stadium coming in, where they can attract better players, because I feel like that's one of the teams that has been consistently a contender with no superstars.
Yeah.
Like, you think New York City, you think that they're going to attract big names, but they haven't yet. And I think a lot of that has to do with the stadium that they play in.
They play on a baseball.
I don't think anybody wants to sign up to play 17 games in a baseball stadium. I think once they get their new stadium, you can kind of sell the city life to them, the marketing that you're going to get while you're over there. I think changed a lot for New York once they move into that stadium in 2027. But for the time being, head held high. Alonso Martinez will be back at some point next year, and no reason to be disappointed for San Diego or NYCFC.
Yeah, I mean, and we didn't talk too much about Vancouver, but Dennis Lopez brings up here, Sean, you forgot Ahmed and Berhalter.
Well, we're going to get into them right now. So,
yeah,
the final is set. Now, I don't know what day, Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to have a preview of the game. We will have a representative for each team, just like we do. For those of you that are first time that you watch this show, Chris and I do this show. We usually talk about the week that was and the week that's coming. But at some point throughout the week, we also have a roundtable episode where we have guests from other representatives from across the league, or reporters or things that just cover the league. And we kind of have a round table discussion with them. Now, this week is going to be the smallest we've ever had because it's only 2 teams left. One of them is Inter Miami, the other one being Vancouver. So we're going to have a roundtable discussion where we just preview the game, talk about the ins and outs, the X factors, the tactics and things that we can look forward to. So that's coming later this week. But we can touch on it right now, just overall, Chris. Vancouver, Miami. I think that the dream matchup for the MLS fans and then the MLS in general, just looking to promote this game, was going to be LAFC and Miami, because Son is the Asian superhero. He is the Asian Messi, and then you had Messi. When you can't get this is the next best thing. Am I right?
Well, and not only is it the next best thing, but yeah, I mean, you have a ton of history behind the matchup between Messi and Mueller. not only just within, I guess, their clubs, but also just internationally through World Cups. I
2014.
kind of looked at it like Rocky versus Drago. Like that's kind of what I feel like if Mueller is like the Drago and Messi is like the Rocky here. I mean, this is the best script writing that MLS can be able to do. And like I said in the last show that we just did, like this is WWE promotion at its finest. If they can be able to pitch this, they can be able to get a lot of international fans that don't follow the MLS to kind of take a peek and take a look at what's going on with these two franchises.
Well, we mentioned that at the end of the season, there was a stat going around that Mueller led the league, the MLS, with goals per 90 minutes or something like that. Like because he had only played in 7
Yeah, it
games,
was
like the
somewhere in
number
the league, yeah.
was slightly higher than Messi. And a lot of people were like, why would you include Mueller in this when he only played 7 games in the regular season? And I said, because they're trying their best to push the big names across the world. You don't want to put Messi's face on everything. Everybody already knows that Messi's playing for the MLS, right? It's already been 3 years. People know that. So what do you do now? You start pushing the other big names. You really push Son. You push Mueller. And that's what they're going to do this week. They're going to really be pushing the whole Mueller versus Messi. The fact that they've played 10 times in the past. Mueller's won 7 of those, including the World Cup in 2014. So that's going to be what you hear all week. It's not going to be Miami versus Vancouver. It's going to be Messi versus Mueller and maybe Miami versus the MLS because all 29 other fan bases are rooting against Messi. I mean, sorry, Miami. Messi,
Well,
Miami, whatever.
Well, and I want to mention this because Gus is saying in the comments, Messi Mueller is not a thing. MLS is trying to promote the match. It's a joke. I don't know. I mean, I don't know too much about the other leagues that they played in, but I would think that Messi and Mueller is kind of a thing. I think it's promotable.
It's not.
I mean,
I'm
it's
sorry to cut
two
you off,
big
Chris.
names.
Let's say 2019. Let's say Barcelona's playing against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying Messi versus Mueller. Nobody. Now, if Barcelona's playing against
They're
Real
saying
Madrid,
Messi against,
or if it's like for example, I think it was PSG that played against Juventus in Champions. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. When PSG played against Juve and you had Ronaldo versus Messi, then it was Ronaldo versus Messi. But like nobody anywhere in the world is talking Messi versus Mueller. They're doing it here because again, they need to sell this as a big game, bigger than just an MLS Cup Final. So I don't think Mueller carries that weight.
I can't blame that Messi is bigger than Mueller, but like at the end of the day, Mueller is a big name.
Bigger.
Like I feel like this is good enough for the MLS.
Yeah, for sure.
No?
Yeah, but like I said, they're just pushing it because they need to.
What are you going to do?
Because
put Messi versus Berhalter?
Well, no, because technically there is a history of games that they've played against each other. But throughout those 10 games, that was never a storyline within those 10 games, ever. In all 10 matchups that they played against each other, nobody ever brought up, Messi versus Mueller. This is the first time that they play against each other that anybody's bringing that up. And I think it's overblown also just because Messi and Mueller, when do they cross paths on the pitch? Like they're both on the opposite sides of the pitch, right? They both play in the attack. Like I think it's a little silly.
Yeah, I could be. I mean, I'm still looking forward to it because Vancouver is a hell of a team, and they have other players that play super great. And Inter Miami's having players that are playing perfectly at the right time. So if there's any matchup that's going to be the most entertaining, it's going to be this one.
Yeah. For the loaner just asked, Danny, why is the timing because of, I guess he's asking why it's starting at 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm not sure why. They usually start them early. For example, last year
they do. Last year it was early
at 4 p.m. Eastern.
It was like at 4. Yeah,
and they played it in Los Angeles. So over there it was 1 o'clock because over here it was 4 o'clock. We're in the East Coast. So I'm not sure why they play it early, but they tend to play it early always.
Because they're afraid that the NFL, if they decide to just throw a fart on a game and throw it on a Saturday, but
you would know already. They're not going to just randomly.
I mean, yeah, but like I don't know. You never know.
So more than Messi versus Mueller, I think that the big matchup to look out for is Messi versus Cubas. Cubas has had a great playoff run. He has been. Oh, look, there you go. Shout out to Ashley Rules. I think he's had a great run. He's very familiar with Messi because he plays for Paraguay. He is probably top 3 center defensive midfielders in the league, and he is probably going to be in charge of marking Messi for the majority of that match. When they did play in the Champions Cup, things got spicy as always. I think that is the matchup to look out for. So I wouldn't look at Messi Mueller. I would be looking Messi Cuas because I think that's the matchup to look for on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Cubas is the CDM for the team, and that's who's been giving Messi sort of quote unquote issues. And like what Imarn is saying that he got under his skin. That's why this is going to be such a great game to watch. It's going to be such a phenomenal game defensively.
Well, and then and I know we said we're gonna get into the preview later on this week with 2 guests, but just real quick,
Yeah.
Vancouver down the wings with Sabi and Ali Ahmed, lethal.
Yeah.
Ahmed was tearing into San Diego yesterday, so absolutely lethal.
Yes.
Now, Miami, their weakness has been defensively up until about a month ago. Once they started Silvetti out wide, Jordi Alba, and Baltasar Rodriguez, Jordi Alba has not pushed up as high as often as he used to. That space in behind where a lot of wingers used to run into to get those vertical plays and vertical passes off to, that it doesn't exist as much anymore. That's why over the last 3 games, it's been 1 goal. I think that defensively, Miami has shored things up, but they are going to have to keep it that way against the wingers of Vancouver because Ali Ahmed and Sabi are absolutely this whole team. If you look at Vancouver from top to bottom, they have a great team. Sebastian Berhalter, I think, is an absolute stud. Like, I love watching Sebastian Berhalter play. The emotion that he plays with is what I love more than anything. It's going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it.
And we got Adam DC with a $5 super slam here. We don't have our regular sounds here. What's the percentage? What's the percentage you guys give Vancouver on winning? I mean, look, to be as unbiased as possible, I think I'm going to go with like a 40% chance.
No, I'm going to go 50-50, man. Vancouver serious. You know what? I'll give Miami the edge because they're at home. That's one reason I give them the edge. And 2, because this is a different Miami team than the one Vancouver saw.
Yeah.
The team that Miami saw, Vancouver, that kicked Vancouver, I'm sorry, the team that Vancouver was when they
different
kicked Miami's
goalkeeper
ass, had Pedro Vite.
Redondo was there.
But now Miami also has added Rodrigo De Paul, has added a Silvetti, has added a Baltasar Rodriguez. They now have a new goalkeeper, Rocco Blanco. I don't know if Ian Frey was even starting those games back then when he was playing. He might have had Lujan, so Ian Frey wasn't a starter back then. Lujan might have started those games. Lujan was really bad.
Bondo came into the game.
He doesn't start. So this is a completely different team than the one that you are accustomed to seeing and that Vancouver handled. So as far as going, and I understand you can't deny what just happened. Like, those games happen. Vancouver kicked their ass twice in a semifinal for the Champions Cup. You can't deny that. But this is a completely different squad. Like, if you look at it, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Because I'm curious now to see what was the starting lineup. I don't know if you have it, Chris. What was the starting lineup for Miami?
I have the starting lineup. I was just saying it. You're talking about the last game against Vancouver when we played them, right?
Yeah, I was going to look up I was going to look up the 2-0 victory that they had that first game. So, these are the only starters that are still starting for this team. Messi, Allende, Busquets, Alba, Falcon, and Allen. Okay. So they still have 6 of the same starters, but there's 5 new starters that they've never really seen. Like, this is a different team.
And shout out to Adam with a $2 super slam here. Vancouver is a good road team and defensive team. Listen, we lost against Vancouver here on the road and here at home. So this isn't going to be a gimme game.
Well, and then you also have to take into account Vancouver back then didn't have Gold. He's coming off the bench now.
Yeah.
and they didn't have Thomas
Didn't have
Mueller.
Mueller.
So it's these are two new teams. These are two new teams. I think the advantage just goes to the home team. I think this is a 50-50 game, and you give the advantage to the home team just because it's the home team. Because I think Vancouver was the best team in the West. Even though they didn't finish top of the West, they played a lot more games than everybody else. I think that they were the best team in the West, and I think that Miami was the best team in the East. Again, they didn't finish top of the East, but when you look at these teams, I feel like they were best top to bottom.
Well, as an Inter Miami fan myself, I can't wait to watch the game. If we could watch the game, because the ticket situation is a complete disaster.
If you are watching this and you are a fan of any team that has made it to the MLS Cup Final, that hosted the MLS Cup Final, we'd love for you to comment if you were given the option to purchase your own seats. Because we found out that last year, LA Galaxy hosted, they gave their season ticket holders access to their own seats. And we also found out that Vancouver sent out an email a couple weeks ago that if they hosted against NYCFC, that their season ticket holders would be given their
locked
seats.
and loaded.
But we found out that Miami is not doing that, and they're saying it's because it's run by the MLS, so they're not allowed to do it. So we're hearing two sides of the story.
But it's not for Vancouver.
So it's interesting. It's interesting. And I think that if this is the way MLS wants to operate, that's fine. But at this point, then you might as well do a neutral site, because then it makes sense. Because if you're doing a neutral site and the game ends up coincidentally in Miami, well, then that makes sense. But if it's a home game and they did it because they had a better record, then it doesn't make sense. So I think that from now on, MLS should look into doing a neutral site if this is the way they're going to do their tickets. But, that's a topic for another day, I guess. Chris, any final words?
It's Drago versus Rocky. I can't wait. Miami treble loading.
Mr. Krabs, NWSL has the final on a neutral site. Just saying. Yep. Oh, yes. And then last game for Boosie and Alba. Yes, that is something else that's going to be very interesting, because Miami, I think, will be also playing just a little bit harder, because they know that their boys, Jordi Alba and Busquets, that's it. There's no more games after this. This is official. They got to go into this game knowing this is the last game I ever play. So just a little more motivation for those two and for their teammates. So it should be interesting. And last game for Suarez too. That one, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be last game.
I've heard Suarez is coming back next year to Miami.
He's going back for a happy meal to Inter Miami. Yeah. Don't you guys worry.
So we'll see. All right. If you are listening on audio, appreciate you listening to the end. Please leave us 5 stars and comment. If you haven't already, why haven't you? Like and subscribe to the channel. And for those of you in the chat, appreciate you guys hanging out with us for the last 23 minutes. We will be back for the preview later on this week. So make sure that you have notifications on or follow us on social media. And that's it. Enjoy your day. So until the next one, have a good one.